So when you guys started working on the Steady B album, which later became Bring That Beat Back, um, as you guys put it out just through pop art, what did you notice when you got to Jive? How things were changing business wise, professionally, show wise? What was evolving?
So that album was in the works when I got there. That's what he came down looking for me, for because he needed a DJ. At that time, KD was out. I guess they had a situation, because the DJ used to run the game. I wasn't there, but I've heard the stories, and I get it. I get his standpoint, but they had a manager that was like, running the whole situation, which was Steady's uncle. So I mean,
You're talking about Lawrence Goodman, right?
Right. So no DJ was gonna come in and be like, I run the show, da 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 da. When they have a control situation, he's signed to the matter and everything goes through him. So that was really how the split, began. It was kind of, I hear button heads or what have you. But I came in and I just was like, I had a different approach. Obviously, I heard that situation and I wouldn't have approached it that way anyway. And again, we just meshed. You know what I mean? We didn't come here at all. It was like boom. So, I said, all right, cool. We can make this happen. I was really excited about making records. That's all I really wanted to do. That's why I was at Funk-O-Mart, the record store. So this was like, wow, a dream come true. So man, look, we got along great. I thought we made good product. And I did 4 records on that Steady B record. And after that, we got the exciting news that Jive Records wanted to pick us up. So they're going to re-release the album. It's going to be re-released worldwide. And we was like, what? This is insane. So that was exciting. And to know that, like, my cousin was over in Germany. He's like, yo, your record is selling over here in Germany. I can get it at the PX, da 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 da. I'm just like, yo, and they're, there's Zamba, Jive Zamba. So they were based out of Africa. So our stuff was literally all over the world. We were super, international. I was like, that's crazy. So it was pretty fly. And at the time, you didn't have like a lot of artists out. You know what I mean? It wasn't flooded like it is now. It's been flooded for decades. But I mean, you got how many people? There's like thousands of people with the little name that's out right now, and it's like thousands. Like, dang! When we were out, it was like 3 groups out, maybe 3. So you was really forced to listen to something that came from Sony or something that came from Jive. You know what I mean? You was really forced because that's all you had. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have all this stuff. It was like, all right, here goes Whodini. Boom. Here goes LL. Here goes Run. Here goes Steady B.
Yeah, and speaking of Whodini, you guys were label mates on Jive at that time as well. So did you guys get any real interaction with them in this era? Did you get to chop it up with them a lot or not at all or what?
Man, that was like, those dudes was like our superheroes, you know what I mean? So growing up, listening and watching them, seeing them at the Fresh Fest, Run as well. We had interactions. We did a lot of shows and they were older. So, there was a lot of guidance in that regard because we would go on the shows and these guys are veterans. They've been on tour with Run and L and, they've been doing it crazy. So we just like really students of the game and paying attention to what's going on, and what they're showing, like this situation. We do it like this. And blah, 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 blah. I'm just like paying attention, Ecstasy was like, we was like this, man. We was like this. We were really tight. Jalil to this day, still super tight. It's nothing but respect. So in this game, it's really, the number one thing I should say that you get in a game for is to be respected by your peers. So these are cats that I had like their posters on my wall, and to get their respect, that's the money. You know what I mean? That's the money right there. That's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in a way of getting some respect is to get credit for stuff you do. So on What's My Name, which came out the second album with Steady B, I remember looking at it and figuring out that you were getting songwriting credit starting on that album. So what was changing on Bleed Is Bad, Rockin' Music, these different songs, The Hilltop, Wrong Hole, where you were getting songwriter credits on those?
So, so that gets a little hairy. All right, let's just say it this way. Because I was composing music, which is why I was getting the credits. That's why. Because Steady and I were producing the songs. Never really got the credit for it. But he and I were producing the songs, but they would put him as the producer, co-producer, and Lawrence would be the producer. So it'd be Lawrence the producer, he'd be co-producer, and I would get the my name on there, T. Thomas on the record, whatever, which was dope though. It was dope because that actually set me up to get a publishing deal. Being as though I was writing music, like creating music. So it didn't get it in the producer way, but I got it in the writer way. So that set me up to get, some nice little check there. So
who'd you have your publishing deal with?
Through Zamba job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right at home. They were like open arms. They were like, all right, come on. But music publishing, I talked about this earlier this week, as a matter of fact. It's big thing, man. Big thing. I mean, you listen to Rick James, stuff that plays every single day. It's like, who's getting paid from it? Biggie, Teddy Pendergrass, they play every DeBarge, the group, they play every day. I just heard it in the car. Who gets paid from this stuff? This intellectual property. Own your publishing, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Dead and gone, records are still playing, money still generating.
Yeah. And on What's My Name, one of those songs, Rockin' Music, is it's like the DJ instrumental cut or what have you. And those were big in that era. So strategically, what was your guys' kind of strategy or your thoughts going into like, hey, this is going to be kind of my song per se on the album?
So, concept record. What's My Name is a concept record. So we basically, over time, similar to, how a lot of producers do it, they'll do a concept record. So like we would take this journey for a month and a half, 2 months. So the things that we did, we might go to New York and, we might, this is not even hypothetical. This is what happened. We would go to New York like a couple of weekends out of the month. And we used to go to like Union Square. And when we went, we would get ideas. You know what I mean? So this one particular time, I'll give you this. What's my name? We did a show up there at Union Square, which was like a prison almost. You're like locked in. It was like bars and stuff. It was a couple of floors of it. It was wild. And then the fighting, it was, man, that was hip hop. And back then, that was when the bridge wars were going on. Bridge is over, the bridge. That's where we heard it the first time. And the chairs are flying, metal chairs. Wow. I mean, this was wild times, man. Red Alert was there. We did our show. We rocked a couple of songs and we stayed and rocked, chill for the party and whatnot. And Red Alert played some records. We paid attention to everything he played, because they played differently. And he put on, Before I Let Go, Frankie Beverly and Maze. And all these young kids went off. We were looking around we were like, what? This is like our pops music. You know what I mean? It's old school music. It's classic R&B, for the old heads. But they was jamming to it. And we were like, yo, this record is dope. I do dig it. But these kids are teenagers rocking to this. So that day we got the concept to make Use Me, which we used the bass line. We never sampled it. We didn't sample it because Use Me was actually supposed to be Bill Withers. It was supposed to be that. But the beat is so off. We didn't know how to chop at that time with that, the primitive machines we had. So, you sample it and the joint would be off and you can't rap to it, off time. So the record was supposed to be Use Me. He was gonna rap over the beat, but then we flipped it and put the boom, 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 boom. We used that we played it. We replayed it opposed to sampling, and we got Uni out of it. So that was just one of like a concept record that we did. There was a couple other records like My Benz and, you know, Wrong Hole, just different ideas that way you can have like a complete album opposed to having like one or two songs. That was back in the days when cats made a real record, like a Dane, you know what I mean? You could listen to it, this be the death beat. You can listen to all of it, you know, Cinderella, Dane. You could just listen to the whole record and just be like, yeah, it's a good record. I'm digging it. You know what I mean? From top to bottom, opposed to I'm skipping over this track, I'm just listening to these two tracks and I'm done with it. So that concept was about making a complete record. A rock and music cut came because we made probably like 5 or 6 records. We got like halfway there. And then the manager was like, look, it's your time to shine. I want you to make something. And this your record. It's going to be you. And I was like, wow, really? So I was all getting ready for like, you know, some cut them up, scratch them up, you know, scratch-a-thon, some, you know, jigger music, you know what I mean? And he was like, nah, not like that. You got to come with something, you know, a little different. So then I found the groove, and it was James Brown related, of course. And then I just started playing around with it in the studio. Next thing, he was like, oh, I like that. He's like, come up with some cuts for it or something. I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, just make it a little bit different. That's how it evolved. That's how it came to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Steady and I made the beat up, and the rest is history. Rocking music. And I always liked the Blackbirds. That was like my joint. So that was like why I used that.
Okay. And then you mentioned Wrong Hole as well, which was one of the more surprising songs on the album, and it's last. So creatively, when you understood what that song was going to be, what were your initial reaction and thoughts?
I didn't really care for the song, to be honest, but it was really a storytelling type, you know, his attempt at making a story or telling a story, like, because we love Slick Rick too, love the adventures of Slick Rick. So that was kind of where it was derived from, or where, you know, it originated from, the whole idea of, all right, I'm gonna tell a story. And it was a personal story for him. At that time, I hadn't experienced anything like that. So, so I was like, all right, you're a little graphic with it, but all right, if you want to tell it, this shit, you got the floor, let's go. So I thought it was cool. You know, it was all right. It was a little cheesy for me. Okay. The way we made the beat up, I can hear the beat in my head now. I'm just like, wow, that was funny.
Okay. And then soon thereafter, the other stuff started coming out with Cool C, and then 3D, aka 3 Times Dope, went down to the Gristle and From the Giddy Up. So as you started, you know, you're having success, but now you're starting to work with other artists, whether it's scratching, helping with the songwriting, the music, etc. What did you find creatively was different for you getting to work with the Cool C or an EST?
Well, it was real cool, real humbling, you know, because they came along and, you know, they were into us big time, because we was like, you know, one of the hottest things out of Philly. So when they came along, they were really like, oh my God, you know, it was like kind of like it really excited. So that energy, you know, transcended, you know, into us, because we felt that energy, and we always like, it was just like a feel good vibe always, you know what I mean? So, and they were family. So, but we would just be like, all right, dude, it's not, you know, we appreciate it, but I mean, I guess they just couldn't help it, you know what I mean? Because it was, that music was just so hot at the time. And then, you know, they was just like, couldn't believe it. So it was fun. It was fun for us because we were making records, and now we get a chance to expand and make records for somebody else. And that was like, you know, that was hot right there, just to be able to do that for someone else and say, all right, because Steady used to say it to Cool all the time. He was like, you won't be on this platform in a little while. Watch, it's gonna be you. It's gonna be your name on there. And he just couldn't fathom it. You know what I mean? He couldn't believe it. He was just good hanging with us. You know, good being in the car with me, just rolling around town and whatnot. That was his thing. So, and then, you know, he got a hold of it. You know, he got a hold of the spotlight.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.